So the patterns that we learn whenever we're kids are usually the patterns that we keep because whenever you're growing up, you watch the adults in your life and how they handle things. And when your adults move from thing to thing to thing, sometimes it's hard to ever create any kind of or establish any kind of solid foundation for anything. And then as a kid, you see that that's how things operate. And you assume that's how all things operate because that's what we do. We don't really see another perspective until we're a little older. And sometimes that takes forever because the idea that your parents are not perfect is something that you often have to come to terms with, and some people never do. And it requires a lot of thought and some reality checking for how the people in your lives behaved and how you may have taken on some of those habits that are not healthy for you. And for me, a lot of times it was like whenever my parents got emotionally out of balance, there was something new that happened. It was like a change. It was always new. We'd go try something new or do something new. And I think for my mom, a lot of times, like, she wouldn't even take the same road home every day. Like, she couldn't even do that. She wanted to take different roads home every day. And I think a lot of times when you think, okay, so my dad grew up in an incredibly abusive household with a stepmother who was not okay. She was very much an abused child who grew up to abuse her children. And she was, and the jealousy for my dad was, it was insane. And the things she did to him were very toxic. And so his mechanism was probably to run from that. And then my mom, she grew up in a home where her dad was always after her because he didn't want her to do better than anyone else in the family. And if she did, he was on her to lower her down. And so there was that happening. And I think she probably learned to run as well. And those were their coping mechanisms. And together, when they were together, it was like anything that was hard and that emotionally upset them, instead of facing that, they ran. And anything that hurt, they ran from. And it was never addressed. It was never looked at. And did they improve from when they were younger? Absolutely. But there were some things that they never did even want to touch or look at. And so so those are the patterns that get handed down in your life, are the ones that you see your parents participate in. And so for me, a lot of times, because emotionally, I'm going to tell you, things have been rough in my life. And the way that I handled them was how I saw my parents handle them forever. And it was a run away. Anything that got really, really hard emotionally, I would either run away or I would shut down. But the difference is, I was surrounded by people who were, after I left my parents' house, I was with people who didn't change anything. Nothing was changed. It was complete opposite. And so that was good for me to see how you approach things that are hard by not moving. And it kind of encouraged me to stop a lot of those behaviors. And I think that was one of the good things that I got out of hard situations, is that you start learning how to stick to things. But I can tell you that it took a really long time for me to get out of those patterns, really long time. And it takes a lot of self-awareness to be able to address those issues. And also, I think there's a lot of healing that has to be done, and a lot of releasing of, you have to start looking at the things that do make you run. So what is it that you keep surrounding yourself with? If you are constantly on the run, what is it that you've surrounded yourself with that's making that happen? Something in your life has to be good. You have to have some sort of stability. And it has to be, if it's a really big part of your life, it has to be good. If your home life is not where you want it to be, the rest of your life will eventually fall apart. Because that's your safe space. If you don't have a safe space, where do you go to recover so that you don't run away from everything? Or you don't freeze with everything? Or you don't self-talk yourself out, or you don't talk yourself out of being successful repetitively because you're so afraid that if you succeed, you'd have to leave a certain environment. And you're so afraid that if you get too successful, people will see you and will make comments and start drama. And you don't want that. You just want to hide in the background. Because there's no safe space. There's no place to rest. There's no place to relax so that you can be successful. And so self-sabotage starts taking in. And you allow it because what can you do? Until you face those demons, those places, those things in your life that are causing you to self-sabotage, causing you to fight the good that may come into your life, until you stop those things, you will never have what it is that you really want out of life. And it took me a very long time to figure that out. A very long time. And then, once I'd figured it out, I think my body had been so tired from running. It was so tired. I was so tired from running. I was so tired of not having a safe space. I was so tired from having to pull the load for everything that I had. But I had made the decision to be in that situation. So I can't blame anyone else but me in that space, because I had made those choices. And until you make the choice, you take the responsibility for the choices that you've made that have put you in places where you have no stability and no safety. And until you acknowledge where that comes from, which for me, it was a pattern that I learned in childhood. And so it was pretty ingrained. Until you address the dedication to things that no longer serve you. Until you stop that, your life will always have drama. It will have less peace. There won't be peace. There won't be rest for your soul so that you can be successful. And so you have to make sure that you are thinking about you too, especially if you're a person who doesn't like to do that. Who are you? What do you need? If you're like me, you wanted to make sure everybody else had what they needed, and then you wanted somebody else to do that for you. And when they didn't, nobody took care of it. So you have to decide to take care of it. And then, I think once you do that, you start attracting people in. Once you start saying, I'm going to take care of me, you start attracting people in with that behavior, and they'll reflect it back at you. And those are the people that you need to be grateful for and that you need to invest in. And it feels really weird. It feels really, really weird. It's like, what do they want from me? Because for me, anytime that I needed something, it was like, what do you want? What do I need to give you in return? It was always transactional. Take care of you. Remember those behaviors. They aren't positive. They'll keep you from success. Make your success the most important, because you'll start attracting in the things that you need once you do that. Make you most important. Make the things that you love most important. Save space for your loved ones, for your children. Of course. But make sure that you're important too. Because you're the one who needs to do it. Nobody can rescue you but you. Take care. Be good. I'll talk to you later. Bye.